Okay. Can you see what I'm sharing?
No, sir.
Yes, Prof.
Yes, Prof, we can.
Okay.
I can see.
So thank you very much. Once more. So sorry. So if you remember,
Hmm?
once Dr. Adewale, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but faintly.
No, the class rep. Adeolu
I can't hear you.
Adetunji.
You, sir.
Dr. Adeolu Adetunji. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear
Are you around?
you, sir. Yes, I'm around, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Okay, please.
Sir? Hello,
Not
sir.
here. Oh, you're muffled.
Good afternoon, sir. I can hear you, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Adiola, you can hear. We can't hear you.
Hello, I can hear you, sir.
Sir, we can hear you.
Dr. Adetunji, please, can you talk to the ICT people? Maybe something is wrong from their side. Okay.
Okay, I'm coming, sir.
Apparently, there's some stability now. Okay, maybe you talk to the ICT.
I think it's
but
better
I think
now.
it's getting stable now. Yes, yes.
Okay, sir.
It has stabilized now somehow. Okay. I think it's better now. Can we start? Can we start, please?
Yes, we can start, sir.
Yes, sir. We can start, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the course outline, please. Can you see the slide I'm sharing? The lectures outline.
Yes, Prof. Yes, Prof.
No, sir. We can't see.
We can't see.
No, sir, we can't see. No, sir, we cannot see the slide you are sharing, sir.
We can't see.
No, sir, we cannot see.
Let me try sharing again.
Anyway,
Reception is bad.
Hello, please, I can't hear you. I don't know if I'm the only one.
You're not one. I can't hear her too.
Okay.
Bana gani an laptop din na sa empty till modem na recharge modem na it's not given. I try to connect this one. Maybe after this one we will look at it.
Hear you, sir. The reception is bad.
So we can't hear you.
So can you see anything, please?
Yes, Prof. Yes.
Yes,
Dr.
Prof,
Lada?
we can see
Okay.
the slides.
Okay, good.
I can see this.
You can see this slide now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like something is wrong today, but let's quickly start, okay? For those who were around in the last class, we had an hour and a half almost introduction to the entire course. So today we're taking specific topics already. So I would like to number our topics or lecture 2 or topic 2, which is research concept, ethics, types of research studies. So under this is the sub headings planned for the lecture. We'll try to define what is research, try to see the general categories of research studies, and we look at ethical misconduct in research, as well as ethical principles. So in the last class also, we tried to define what is research, right? Hello?
Yes, Prof. Yes.
Yeah, please, you see, because I'm sharing, I can't see you and perhaps you can't see me. So if I don't communicate, I don't get feedback, and especially with the unstable network, I have a feeling that I'm just talking to myself. I would like 1 or 2 people, let us be communicating in form of yes, okay.
We can hear you, Prof.
Okay.
Just that
Otherwise, it's like I'm just talking to myself.
the flight is not very clear. I don't know. Maybe it's from my side. Can it be more focused, the slide?
So we can hear.
No, I am talking about the slide, not the voice. The voice is clear. It's the slide that is not it's not well focused.
Maybe make it full screen. Make the slide to be full screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is a definition, the little definition I have, okay? When we talk of research, can we all see it?
Yes, Prof. Yes.
Or you can
Dr. Lada, Dr. Lada,
Yes, Prof.
let me get hold of someone. Can you read it out, please, so that I will be sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's a search or investigation. It's a search or investigate carefully, diligent, and
slideshow, right?
positively with the aim of discovering new findings, interpretation of facts, revision of accepted theories or law
Okay.
into the light of new facts.
Okay. So please, can we see the little definition we try to put across? First of all, we have to understand that research, it means to search or to investigate, but not to investigate ordinarily, but rather carefully, diligently, and exhaustively. That is to the last of what you can do as a researcher. So with the aim of what? It may be discovering new findings. It may be that there have been findings or facts, okay, but that have not been interpreted. I don't know whether you've heard the story of a lot of sort of, let me say, like inscriptions on stone, okay? Have you have the Maya civilization in Latin America?
Yes.
There are so many things, you know, inscriptions, some writings no one could interpret. But with time, but it's a fact that yes, they have lived here, they have civilized. So, but you can go into research to interpret some of these facts. What are they writing? What do they mean? Oh, this is also a form of research. So it's not only sitting in the lab or doing one thing or the other that we refer to as research, right? So it may be even now there was a fact. Now, with the advent of new theories or laws, okay, you can revisit already a fact, a theory, all with the aim of what? Presenting or finding more facts. So that is the general aim of research. It can be done to discover new things or interpret facts or even revisit a theory or establish fact in the light of new facts or practical applications. Are we together?
Yes.
Because please, I want us to get the understanding. That is why. So you can define it in your own way, but the most important thing, you have to understand the keywords. It is to investigate, okay, to examine, to research carefully, diligently, and exhaustively. Okay, so any research that you do it superficially, that one is not a scientific research. And we're talking about this in the concept of scientific research. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
So can anyone maybe bring another suggestion as to add value to this definition? What else do you think we have left out when we try to define a comprehensively what research is, scientific research?
I don't think there's any addition.
You don't think so, but what of other members of the class?
Review
So,
there. That means I was thinking about yes, the revision is there. I wanted to talk about review, but revision is review already.
yeah. So any other I don't know.
How about analysis, sir? Analysis.
No, we
Is
are
the
yet to reach analysis.
okay.
Okay, we'll get to analysis. First of all, now, what do we understand research? We are going to, everything we are going to build on is based on research. So we are going to look at the purpose of research, types of research, how do you conduct a research, and so on and so forth. So, but as a definition, we want to hold on something, okay, that is key, fundamental.
Yes.
So that's why we try to look at this perhaps as something comprehensive that we can hold on when it comes to scientific research.
Excuse me, sir.
This or not?
Hello, sir.
Somebody was trying to. So we all adopt this, right, as our definition?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So,
yes, I agree.
Yes. Yes, I'm listening.
No, it's okay, Prof. We can adopt this definition.
Okay. Anyway,
Excuse
in
me,
the
sir.
course,
Sir, I wanted to add or like ask a question.
Okay, please, can you?
Yes. The findings. I think a
What's the
word
question, please?
beneficial is an addition to the definition, sir.
Okay, what?
I mean the word beneficial. Sometimes a research has to be beneficial because we cannot do research on something that is vague or that has no final benefits to either the society or to the research society or to the general society.
Visual quality is bad.
So, okay, who was that speaking earlier, please?
I'm the one, sir.
Okay, sorry, let me. Something or somebody is sabotaging this class today. I don't know why.
It's network, sir, likely.
Okay, so what are we saying? You say we need to add, when they say aim. Okay, let's make progress anyway. I think by the time we move, you understand. So now research principles. So the principles of research, please. The research must have a purpose, okay? I don't know, some people, if you like, you can jot it down. There must be data collection in any research. There must be manipulation, okay? Or management of the data, okay? There must be analysis, okay? Or if you like, please, we can change this. Maybe we can change it even right away. Let's instead of this, let's use the word data management.
Data management.
Yes, instead of this manipulation. I didn't like that word. If you manipulate, it's like it has some negative.
Yeah. I have negative intention.
Not necessarily. Okay. So, who was that? Who was trying to say we should add the aim, or what do you call use? So, if you look at this, the principles, any research, it must have a purpose, isn't it? It must have data collection component. There must be data management.
Sometimes parents will say your mates are bringing money, you are sitting in the house. So the expectation from parents is very high, especially to the girl child. They say, you didn't marry, you are just there. Even when you're working, they expect you're supposed to take care of your parents. And when
Hello, please, who is that? Who is that talking? Are you talking to the class, or you are chatting outside the class? Please, if you want to discuss something outside the class, you can mute your microphone so that it won't disturb the class, because I thought somebody was drawing my attention for a question. Otherwise, so thank you for your cooperation, please. So as I was saying, so what do we mean by purpose of research? Do we just conduct research anyhow?
No.
There must be a purpose.
Must be a reason.
Yes.
A reason, purpose. So within that context, you can see in bracket, I said there must be a vision, goal, and objectives, which is under the purpose. What is the vision? What do you want to achieve at the end of this research? Isn't put this question? Who can give example, please? Who can give us example of the purpose of a research? Okay,
The purpose of a research.
I call Ladan, maybe I will pick another name so that, as I said, I want to be sure I'm communicating.
Okay.
So we're listening.
Nobody is ready to be answering. So what do we mean by purpose? Give me an example of a purpose. Is there any, okay, I want somebody with PhD? Is there anyone with PhD, please? Please feel free. We are all colleagues. I know some are professors even. Perhaps. So anybody with PhD, I want to ask a question. Posing. Posing. Yes. I know you have MSc, you have PhD, you have DBM.
I'm listening.
So wait, I want you. What was the topic of your MSc? If you remember.
Okay, the topic of
Was there any difference between the MSc and PhD? Posing, I can't hear you.
So our network is giving me
okay,
headache.
the topic is of canine rabies. A molecular characterization of rabies virus in Plateau State.
Okay, any difference between the MSc and PhD?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, the point I want to make, please, is that I remember some time back in, I think, Yobe State, okay, around this Gashua area. I think perhaps up to now, there was a surge in kidney problems in human beings. I don't know if you are aware. Anybody from that axis? So that is a reason. And then okay, it was decided something must be done. So most kidney issues, used to come from perhaps most likely the food we eat. Almost half or more than 80 or 90% of diseases, they come from either the air we breathe or the food we eat. So there was a decision to try to investigate the amount of heavy metal residues, okay, in the food or milk or water and this. So
Yeah. Yeah.
We are with you, Prof.
Prof is not on. Oh.
What is happening in today's class?
Prof, we are with you.
Prof is not on. Okay. Sorry, Prof. I think don't agree. Over.
Hello.
Hi.
Prof, we are with you, Prof.
Okay, sorry. So are we together?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You see the slides, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So we are saying the principles of research, it must have purpose. Under that purpose, it must have a vision, a goal, or objectives, as the case may be, or as you like it, or all combined together. Okay? So that is one aspect. Then there must be a component of data collection. That one is a separate topic. If you look at our introduction in the last lecture, there's a special topic, data collection and management, and so on and so forth. So there is no research without data collection. Can one give me an example of a research without data collection? Please, I'm
Maybe it's
waiting
the
for
only simulation kind of research.
Listening, I am this question. If you like a challenge, I want you to give me an example of a research
without data collection.
So any answer, please?
No, bro.
No.
Mm.
So under data collection, there are some definitions that we, yes? Somebody wanted to say something, please.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Sorry.
On computer program.
Sorry?
I said theoretical research do not require data collection.
Yes. So we're talking of the conventional research. Okay? The one that you and I will do. That's why you call that one theoretical. We're talking of conventional research that you have to investigate, where you have to search, investigate carefully, observation, and so on and so forth. So in any case, there must be data collection. So what is data and how to collect data, the purpose of collecting data. Also, I think in under the data collection and management, you discuss that it's a topic on its own. So, but under that, there must be the population, okay, the subject, the objective, whether human subject or animal or population of trees or children or whatever, okay? So under this also you have subheadings, the target population, sample population, what is a sample, and so on and so forth, okay? Then when you collect your data, there is a need to what? Manage the data. What do you mean by data management?
Maybe that is where the analysis comes. Data analysis.
Okay, but when you collect data, now let's use a very simple example. Okay, that is okay. A herd of maybe 500 animals. So you went there, you tested for brucellosis, for example.
Yes.
And you have certain number positive, certain number negative.
Yes.
At that point, what do you have?
You have to classify them based on that positive or negative.
No, at that point, what you did, you just collected what?
The raw data.
Just
Yeah,
facts. Raw data, isn't it?
Yes.
So you come back to your laboratory or your office and do what is called the management of the data. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So how do you manage the data? What is the first thing you do in the data
Classify
management?
Classify the data into groups.
Okay, that is you sorting of the data, isn't it? You need to sort out your data first and foremost, isn't it?
Yes.
Sorting into what?
Positive.
Into different what?
Categories
Groups.
Into different categories or variables, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Like age, Sex.
Female, male, female, or no, breed, and so on and so forth. Isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
So that is when that's the beginning of the management of the data, isn't it? Then you look at the nature of your data and think of which appropriate analysis you want to make. If it's a comparative something, you look for a statistical analysis that are purposely for comparison, okay?
Yes.
And so on and so forth. So it is very important. I'm not going again into the details of this because each of these is a topic on its own. Data management. Okay, I'm just talking about the principles of research. Any research, it must have a purpose. You must collect data. You have to manage that data. So I'm just trying to go a little bit into what we mean by this, so that we don't leave it like that. So data management, it means you have to reduce this data, isn't it, into different variables. If there is any into noun frequencies, then the next thing is what? Tabulation, isn't it? So depending on what you want to present, if you want to compare just simple percentage, perhaps you use a pie chart, okay, to show clearly in the cycle, okay, this percentage is representing this is that. So down to that. So after analyzing everything, after managing your data, you have to come to a what? Conclusion. If you carry out research, isn't it? Hello?
Hi.
Yes, sir. We are with you. We are with you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so I said after any research, there must be what? After managing the data, what do? You just keep it and go home.
Conclusion.
So what is conclusion? What just example of conclusion? What do you mean by conclusion?
You conclude by telling the findings that you have, sir.
Okay.
That you are able to establish during the
So any conclusion, let me give you this also as a fact, very emphatic, that most at times your conclusions are the findings or contributions of your work. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you get the point?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Your conclusion is your contribution to knowledge.
Exactly.
So there must be a conclusion at the end. So, and the purpose, that's what I'm saying, it depends on the purpose of the research, and that will lead us to what? Policy. Or let me even put it, if you like, again, let us put it properly, because I think at the end I'll give you this slide. Policy formulation. Okay? Do you accept this?
Yes.
What do I mean by policy formulation?
So based on the conclusion, based on the contribution to knowledge, we are able to extrapolate the required integrity or required policy.
Okay, can you give me a simple example of a research that you can conduct, conclude, and then it may even transfer to policy formulation? I gave you a simple example.
Policy formulation will lead to them.
No, you see, all this may be the purpose, again, vision, objective, whatever. I gave you example. In a particular area, there is increase in kidney problems, okay, in humans. So it was decided that there should be investigation on the water, okay, and perhaps the food and some few things that most of the people use there, isn't it?
Yes.
And it was discovered that there are heavy metals in the water they drink. Maybe they have
Yes.
1 or 2 sources of water, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, that's the finding. After analyzing and laboratory work, that's the finding. So now you report your findings to the appropriate authority. Maybe it is a sponsored research. Okay, so now the government will say, okay, this borehole is not fit for human consumption. Nobody should use water from this borehole or from this water body or from this area. The government is going to build a special borehole or whatever, or temporarily it will be supplying more potable water. Do you get the point? So this is
Yes.
formulation of policy as a result of what? Research, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, outbreak of a
Yes.
particular disease, okay? You rush there, investigate, find out, this is the conclusion. Conclusion usually will lead to what? Policy formulation.
Policy.
In terms of what? Laws or temporary restriction and so on and so forth. Do you get the point? So
Yes.
most research, the end of this research, in proper research, it has to end up being applied. And what is the application is what? In form of what? Policy, government policy or laws. Do you get the point?
Yes.
So when
Yes.
we talk about generally, what I mean by principle of research, it has this, I think, 5 components. The purpose of the research, there must be data collection, there must be data management, then there must be what? Conclusion. The policy formulation may be what? Plus minus, isn't it? Like most of our academic research, they end up in the shelves of the departments and libraries. Nobody looks at them to see, okay, what can be done, which policy can be enacted out of this research. Okay, so the policy formulation is part of a comprehensive, perhaps sponsored research. There are several research that have been sponsored by even external bodies like the European Union, the African Union, okay, to be conducted in a particular area in Africa. I remember recently the Lidiski, is it Lidiski? They conducted research on I think PPR, okay, on small ruminant around in Plateau State. So it's an European Union sponsored research. So a conclusion was made, and then they will package it, and then perhaps there may be a formulation or advice to formulate a policy based on the outcome of this research. Okay. So generally,
Yes.
when we talk of research also, I think any research, and I must go ahead to
Is missing in action.
We are with you, Prof.
The slide is on, but Prof is nowhere.
Hello. Yes, please.
Hi.
Yeah.
Prof, we are with you. Continue, sir.
Okay. Okay. Am I still sharing the document?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, Prof.
So maybe we have to rush this class. Let's try to move fast, please. So this one is just for information. Okay. Most of the research we are going to do is called incremental research.
I can't see the
And that
slide.
is based on the existing knowledge.
I'm not seeing the slide, sir.
The prevalence of a particular disease. Sorry?
I'm not seeing the slide,
Hello?
sir. Hello,
You're
we
not
can't
seeing
see
the
the
slide?
slide. Yes, sir.
Well, okay. Oh.
Let me
But
start
we're
to
seeing
share
it
it.
here.
No, it's okay. Let me share it again. Can you all see it now?
Not
Can you
yet.
all see it?
Yes, sir. We
No,
can.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we
I
can
can
see
see
this.
it.
Maybe just,
You
We
can
can
see
see
it
it
I
now.
now.
think you should be seeing it.
I can
We
see
are
it.
not
I can.
seeing. I can see.
You are supposed to be seeing it actually.
Okay, I can see it
Yeah.
now.
So, okay, good. So as I said, when we say incremental research, it means already there is existing knowledge. Our own part, okay? As I was saying, a particular research perhaps was carried out in Sokoto, but we don't have that information in, let's say, Kogi State. Which example do we take? Maybe Newcastle disease, for example, or avian influenza. We have the prevalence in Kogi State, or in Sokoto, we don't have in Kogi. So by the time you come and carry out the prevalence study in Kogi, you see you are adding information to something that has been existing. So gradually, if each state will come out with the prevalence, you see we have a general picture of how the disease looks like in Nigeria. Are we getting the point?
Yes.
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me.
We are hearing you.
Yes.
Yes, you can
So
hear.
the other
Yes,
research,
sir.
as you can see, is radical, is also based on what? Existing
Knowledge.
so that one is a more of a radical type of research. Hello?
We didn't hear you, sir.
We didn't hear you.
We didn't hear you, sir.
So
We didn't-
as I was saying, the radical research also, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
The radical research also is based on existing knowledge. But most of the time here is the approach. How radical you want to approach it. Like we know that previously, all we do when we are trying to isolate organism or identify an microorganism is use the conventional biochemical method and so on and so forth. But now, science has changed with the advent and application of different knowledge. People tend to use now more advanced, let's say, molecular level, isn't it? Detection of some just proteinous part of the organism. So there are this type of research. Fundamentally here, we're saying that there is existing knowledge, but the approach now, you are trying to have a different radical approach in that area. So that is it. While the incremental is, I say, it's just the normal thing. This one has done it there, but we don't have the information in this area. You just do little and add to the general. Okay, I want to do it in another way, which is basically the component of the radical research, which is also based on existing knowledge. Okay, but fundamental is, maybe if I put it, is journey to unknown research.
Hello, bro. Hello.
No.
We can't hear you. I can't hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what
hear
of,
you,
what of
Prof.
the other people?
Check the fundamental again.
I say fundamental is journey to unknown.
Okay.
Who is that? I can see somebody raising his hand. Job by me. Okay, fundamental journey to unknown. What does that mean?
Yeah,
There is no knowledge. There is no previous research in that area.
It's a fresh virgin area.
Hello.
That's a research.
Hello, Prof. I'm not hearing you again.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah.
Please restart after the. Please continue from the fundamental research.
That's what I was trying to say. I was
Okay.
asking you guys.
Okay, what
I think
fundamental?
we talked a little on the incremental, the radical, and say fundamental is what? Journey to unknown. And I asked you, what does that mean?
Yes, some have already said is starting starting
Are
to
we
a fresh.
together? Uh-huh.
Yes.
The first one, basically, we say we have it, you are just adding knowledge to existing one. Isn't
Exactly.
it?
Yes.
Not necessarily make any change in the approach.
Yes.
Radical also, you are adding to what is existing.
But the approach is changed.
By the
Maybe shorter one or whatever. And then we say fundamental research is journey to unknown. And I say, what does that mean?
To an area that
No,
that has not been.
No previous research.
Yes, no previous knowledge, no previous information.
It's a virgin area.
Yeah.
Like just imagine people who first try to explore the space. You know now people can go and live there for 6 months, more than that even. What was their basis? Isn't it?
Exploration.
So that's why I say it's journey to unknown. You are starting, maybe you are just looking at the sky. What is this? How do I get there? What is in the moon? For example, isn't it? Or a deeper area. Like now, I just saw one guy who published something in the Nature. Okay, he has worked on DNA. So he found, I think, a particular protein on DNA that can be used, I think, again to identify some things. So it's like a new something. He was not using the conventional way of thinking and so on. So he decided to go into something different. Well, you may call it also radical, but when we say fundamental, it means you are just starting from the beginning. Okay, so please let's have this as all these 3 points as concept of a research. Okay, so for you to engage in any research, we have given the definition of what research is. You must have the purpose of your research that is under the principles. You must collect data, you must manage the data, and at the end you have to write a conclusion, isn't it? And then you have to have a general orientation as per the type of research, but I tell you 95% of what we are doing will be under incremental research. Okay, so after being equipped with this, next thing we try to understand is what types of research studies. Are we?
Yes.
Together?
The slide.
Please, can you all hear me?
Yeah, can hear you now.
Yeah.
The form have not been changed.
Okay, what of the sharing?
Yeah, the sharing is here. It's still the first slide. The slide that we are talking about since.
Okay.
Slide of the definition of research.
It has moved.
So
It has
now
moved.
we're on a new slide. Slide
No,
number 4.
we are still on research.
Still on the one.
I'm still seeing the first.
The number 4 is at the right bottom corner. The number of the slide.
So all through we have been seeing research concept.
It's still research
No.
concept. No.
Research what?
Research
concept.
That
That's
is
the
where
slide.
where the
Research
definition, the
Some of
definition.
us are seeing slide number 4.
Uh-huh.
So,
That's one again.
Yes.
Prof,
Yes, I want us to be
move
on
to
the same page.
slide 4.
Yeah.
We have
What can you see now?
disappear.
Types of research studies, isn't it?
yeah,
Now
Yes.
you
This
yes.
is what
Yeah.
I'm sharing.
yes,
So,
type of studies.
we are with
so
you now,
this is
Prof.
the general classification, a more general, a broad classification. Any research you want to do, it must fall under these 3 categories. Is that clear? It can either be experimental research or observational studies. I mean, experimental study, observational study, or theoretical studies. I don't know if you have, unfortunately, we are not using any smart board, and we are not using the classroom also fully. I would have loved to draw a sketch, a sort of, okay, to show you the basic differences. But even with this, I think it can make sense. Experimental studies, observational or theoretical. Any question, any addition before we start? What do you think? Is there any category that we left out? Pardon?
Prof.
Okay. It means you are alive and you can hear me.
Yes, Prof.
Okay. So any addition please from the classroom? So we agreed on these 3, right?
Yes, Prof.
So if you are asked during exam, types of studies, if we say case control study belongs to which type of research study? I think you can say theoretical, right?
Observational.
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 Okay. So that's good. It's just a small test. So under experimental, what do you mean by experimental studies?
Sir, a research.
I deliberately didn't write anything. I want us to brainstorm. What does that mean?
Sir, a research under enclosed environment. Or
Not really.
under
Like
or
RCT.
under external influence.
Aha. Isn't it? Let me quickly just rush. We all know that what study, it means to investigate, isn't it? When I say research, you know, they can be used interchangeably. Research or studies. The fundamental thing here in experimental studies is that the researcher has a degree, a level of what? Control.
Influence.
Okay? So he has some input in the control. That is, he can what? Influence the outcome of the what? Study. He has influence in the what? Research. Are you getting the point?
Yes, sir.
Or is there any counter argument? Experimental studies, the researcher has what? Influence. He has level of what? Control, if you like, limited control on what? The study. That is why under this study, we have what? The laboratory experimental study, and then you have what? Field experimental study, isn't it? it is very obvious. Most of the time when we talk of the experimental studies, mostly we are limited, or we limit our thinking to what the laboratory, because it's very obvious, isn't it? This is experiment that is what carried out in the what laboratory, whereby you have what the trial and the what control group, isn't it? Just for a simple example. Yes, you have the control group and then you have the trial group or groups. You can have A, okay, this one you administer vitamin C, this one vitamin E, this one vitamin E and C, this one vitamin this one just water, placebo. Okay, so this is a typical type of what experimental study. So, and that is why when we say the researcher has influence, it means what? He can add this dose, increase this dose, add this and that to determine what the outcome of the result or of what the experiment. Are we together, please?
Yes, we are.
So what,
Yes,
what
sir,
of
we are
the
together.
field, what of the field, experimental field studies? What's the difference between it and the laboratory?
Well, I think that
In the field,
So the
researcher may not
environment is not controlled. It's not
The
controlled.
environment, this one is indoors, and the other one is outdoor.
over.
Why?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I
Who
said
is
that.
speaking, please? Yes.
An effect on the
Okay,
determined
the
outcome
lady,
of the
please.
studies. Do we?
Please, the lady started speaking. Who is that? Please, can you go ahead?
Okay, my name is Gladys.
Okay.
Okay, I said that in field study, that the research may not actually have a control or influence over the study, unlike in the laboratory research.
So what is the difference? I want to get the difference.
The researcher may not have a control, an influence over the work.
In the field.
Yes.
But if you remember, that's the fundamental difference. Whether it is field or what we said that the most important thing in experimental study is that what the researcher has control or limited what influence. So in any case, he has influence. He has limited control. So categorically to say that in the field he doesn't have control also, I think may not be very appropriate. How do we say, okay, yes, somebody was, I think I saw like, Ishaya wanted to say something. Now we are talking of difference between field and laboratory experimental studies.
Okay, we get you. We are getting you now.
You are getting me now.
Yes, we are not hearing you initially.
Okay, but now you are getting me. I'm glad. Okay. So, but for us to really understand the difference, we need to understand how do you set a field experimental studies? How?
So can we be right
field
if we
officers?
say the researcher limited or no control? Can we be right if we say the researcher has limited or no control?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Especially in the field, it's a natural environment, so the researcher has limited influence, but he has influence.
Okay.
While in the laboratory, you have full control, 100%. As per what you influence, isn't it? You cannot change the outcome because it's a biological process, but you can decide to add the dose, for example, if you are testing drug, the quantity and so on and so forth, okay? Or you can decide to use this age and that. But in the field, for example, you want to test a drug, let's say trips, okay? Immunizine, aceturate, for example, okay? For trips. So you just maybe take, if the animals are 20, you just take 20 administer a sort of protective or vaccination or whatever, isn't it? And then leave them, isn't it? Or you administer something protective and see after some time, and then you leave the others without administering, isn't it? You see, they are all together, they are all in the field, in the natural environment. So there may be other compounding factors actually, but then you see you can decide to add the dose or increase and so on and so forth. Do you see, this is just the simplest example I can think of when it comes to the field experiment. Okay, you do it, but then you leave them all together, mixing together under natural environment, and you see how your intervention will really affect, okay, the animals, their well-being. Do we understand the difference now?
Hello, Prof.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't get the actual difference, because the other time when one of my colleagues said there's no control in the field, in the experimental field studies. You said no, that's not the, but I didn't get the actual difference between the two. Please, can you
When we say control in this context, what do you mean by control?
Influence,
It means
actually.
what?
Influence.
You can influence
or manipulate
the outcome.
Okay.
You get the point. You can influence the outcome either fully or in a limited way. But there's no way either, and that's why I'm saying in the laboratory, for example, okay, up initio, you have 5 animals here, you are not giving them any drug, isn't it?
Yes.
The second category, you are giving them a particular drug, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
And maybe a third category, you are giving a combination of the drug, okay? And then maybe you challenge them with a particular microorganism, for example, okay? And see how this, you see, you have full control and you can change. I can decide to add the dose, so I can indirectly determine what I want, what I'm looking for, isn't it?
Yes.
That is in the laboratory. Even in the laboratory, you can have a randomized and controlled. I don't want us for our level here as fellows, okay? This is not a purely epidemiology class that we have to go into nitty-gritties of all this. But for the purpose of this course, for the purpose of this subject, okay, that's why if you see, I'm even putting it in bracket. Even among these other, whether it is laboratory or it is field, you can have a randomized and then a control sort of experiment.
I can't.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Yes. So what I'm saying, the field, okay, you have limited control, although it can be an experiment. As I said, a company brought this that, okay, this thing is very effective against trips. So we know around about the area or the time. So it's like a protection, preventive measure, maybe not really a vaccination. So you can decide to put aside a certain number of animals and administer that drug to them, and then leave others, and then see if those that were administered with the drug didn't come down with the disease. You see, okay, it means that drug is working. So you see, it's a field experiment.
But sir, you have
don't
control.
full, huh?
Even this one, it's like you have influence, you have control because you have selected the number you want to give.
Yes, but still, in the field, anything can happen. That's what I'm saying. You have limited control.
Okay.
Let's use the word limited control when it comes to the more or less the field experiment, because you cannot control the sun or the rain or the temperature outside. Okay. While here, when we talk of strict laboratory experiment, you can even conduct it in what? And a controlled microclimate environment. You get the point?
Yes.
So that is it. You can have, otherwise, what is in the field? How do you conduct field experiments? So it's limited. You still have control, but it's limited. Okay, but the key thing I want you to understand, first of all, the experimental study is a study that the researcher has somewhat degree of control or influence, whether full or limited, on the animal, and it can be conducted either in the laboratory or in the field. That's clear. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As per this. So, and when you come to observational studies also, it's a whole topic in epidemiology. Very serious, big topic. But again, the fundamental thing or difference between it and the experimental study is that, as the word observational implies, it comes from the word observer, isn't it? Or observation. Your own is just what? To observe. The researcher here has no single contribution or influence in the disease or outcome of the disease or outcome of the study. Do you get the point?
Okay, sir.
No, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
You said the researcher has no.
He has no control or influence. Okay.
Yes.
So you can see again under the observational, you have these three categories, which I'm very sure a lot of us are familiar with: the cross-sectional studies, the case control, and then the cohort, isn't it? So also we'll limit this to if you pick the cross-sectional, what do you mean by cross-sectional study?
So one-time observation or of a prevalence of a particular disease.
Like a snapshot.
Okay. One time, snapshot, pinpoint, whatever you call it, isn't it? So you can see here, most of, again, the research, please, I'm saying this so that at the end of your fellowship, when you are going to write a project, you must know exactly what is the type of study you want to conduct. Is it experimental study? Is it a laboratory experimental or field experimental? Or is it observational? I must tell you, almost 100%, so far we have not come across a theoretical study in the fellowship, but I'm not saying it will not happen, okay? But most, you will end up either experimental or observational. So most important thing, again, I'm almost sure 80, maybe 90% of what you are going to be doing is the cross-sectional study, if you opt for observational study. Why? Because most of the time you just go take blood, take milk, or whatever you take, come and check whether it's positive or negative. So you see, at the beginning of this study, cross-sectional, you see the researcher has no any influence. You just get into your target population, take your sample, 200, 100, 300, isn't it? Test them for what you want to test them for, right? Get your result, and then now you assign whether this one is sick or not. So at the beginning of the research under cross-sectional studies, all you know or all you are interested is your the number of samples you want to collect, isn't it? That's what is determined. The number of samples is what is determined only. So you just determine the number of samples. Okay, I want to collect so number of samples. And then you just go, you check, okay, how many are negative, how many. So a pinpoint or a prevalent type of studies. Okay? Are we together, please?
Yes, prevalence. Huh?
Yes, sir.
I want to leave this.
Yes, Prof.
This is more of a revision we are doing. Anybody, this is epidemiology, elementary epidemiology. So the combination of the cohort and case control sometimes are referred to as what? What do you refer them to sometimes? We have some lecturers who. Dr. Ladan.
Sir, no idea.
Dr. Ladan doesn't have.
But I think we are. Which class is this? I think we need to know. So, have you heard of longitudinal studies?
No, sir.
Why no? Let me try and look at your face. One thing. Huh? Maybe I will demand everybody now will put his camera on. Because I can see 40 participants, but most likely most of you just leave everything so that they will take them as being present, isn't it, that they have attended the class?
Yes,
and
bro.
maybe they are somewhere in the market even.
Not exactly.
We're listening, Prof.
No, I'm listening to you now. I was
We're here.
asking of longitude. I asked now because you may come across sometimes.
Environment.
No?
Yeah.
Okay, observational
Yes, sir.
study. Basically, in most of the time you will see, okay, cross-sectional, case control,
Then,
and then what cohort. So I'm again saying now in most again books you will find out the case control and the cohort are called what? Longitudinal studies. And I'm asking why. You failed to tell me actually. I mentioned it myself. It's because the last two have to do with time, okay? You determine something first and then you observe. Do you get the point?
Yes, sir.
This one, you don't observe anything. You just go
Not yet.
and then you determine, isn't it? But when it comes to the case control, as it is here, what do we say? Sampling on basis of what? Disease status, isn't it? So what does that mean? So up initial, we determine what?
Disease.
Disease or non-disease, isn't it?
Mm.
And then we observe, isn't it? This one has disease. Are we getting the point, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think this is the least we can do. Because in all of the observational stages, again, one fundamental thing that is keep on coming is that we want to, at the end, find some risk factors, okay?
Yes.
Factors that are most likely determining this disease. So that is why if you take case control at the beginning, okay, you say, okay, this one are disease. So, and then you observe after some time, there's no any increase in the disease. And then you look at, okay, what are the possible factors that contributed to the disease or not? This one, you group them together at the beginning, and then you try to observe them for a period of time. That's the cohort. Okay? If that is too complicated, let us at least remember what you can see on the screen. Can you all see it?
Yeah, we can see this.
Dr. Adetunji, class rep. Class rep. Can you hear me? Okay.
No, sir.
Let it be
It's
on
breaking.
record. Nobody should say he has not seen this. So that when you are asked during exam,
Which
there
one?
won't be any counter argument. So I submit my
Which
case.
one, sir?
Okay. So
Which one, sir?
Differentiate between
all the slides. But I'm talking about
That's
observational. I'm talking about observational studies. Okay, what now? What's the okay? What's the difference between experimental and observational studies? The fundamental key difference.
Fundamental key difference.
Control.
Absence of degree of influence and control, and absence of degree of influence and control.
Under observational studies, the researcher what?
Only
observes. He has no influence on the what?
On the
outcome.
Determine whether this one is disease or not. There's nothing he can do.
Yes.
So the cross-sectional, as I said, mostly is what we do also. You just go take your sample, test which one is negative or positive. And at the beginning, you don't really care to know which one is disease, which one has disease or not. Unlike case control study, you do case control to try to find out some risk factors. Other retrospectively, you can collect a number of animals and see, okay, within so time, so number of animals were sick. So then you look at, okay, were they all male? Were they female? Were they this? So you can do it even retrospectively. Okay? Or you can look forward to see, to try to determine risk factors. So in any case, again, observational studies is more inclined to determining what risk factors that contribute or determine disease status. Okay? So
Yes.
the third type of study, which I say most likely at this our level, but for the purpose of the course, you should understand is what theoretical studies. As we discussed the other time, some people gave example which were correct. That is the modeling, conceptual or simulation, and so on and so forth. Okay. For example, most like in engineering, okay, the modeling has advantage. Okay. Are you getting the point?
Yes, bro.
The modeling has a lot of what advantages, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Because, for example, if you want to build a bridge, you have to, have a small model of it, test the strength, and so on and so forth, or before they build something, So all that one also can be put into theoretical form of what experiment, and of course modeling, which is widely used now as form of it. I don't know. It's like it's 3 o'clock already.
Yes, it is.
We quickly conclude this slide. Hello.
Hi.
I said, do we conclude this slide? Or
Okay.
maybe on the next time? Just fast. It's not difficult. This one. We're just talking of ethical misconduct in research ethics. Because I'm going to give you the slide, please. So I will share it through your class rep. And I understand also it's being deposited in all the lectures.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, please.
Yeah, when you are
Go ahead,
explaining the differences between case control study and cohort study, I didn't get.
I can't hear you, please.
We can't hear
I
him.
didn't get the difference in case control and cohort studies.
Okay, you know what we are going to do? Maybe we are going to revisit this topic next time, okay? We will
Yes, sir.
revisit the topic. Just remind me, we are going to talk on it in the next class. But let's just meet the target for this lesson today. We say research ethics what? It's a system of moral principles, isn't it? On how to conduct research, isn't it?
Yes.
The method, how you conduct it, isn't it? How you analyze this thing, okay? And then also relationship with your what? Fellow researchers. I think there's no big deal here in the definition or any addition or subtraction. But what I want to emphasize here is what? In this definition, who can tell me, please?
Principles, system of moral principles.
Moral, especially what?
Moral principles.
Moral principles. You get the point?
Yes, sir.
So it's a very serious moral principle, as we can see when we talk a little about the research misconduct, ethical misconduct. You will see why moral issue is very important. So these are moral principles governing research, okay, and scholars in the method of how they conduct the research and in relation to their own. So when we talk of ethical misconduct, I think in the other class we try to briefly also define. There are three basic categories in research, what one can do and can be qualified as misconduct in research. We have fabrication, falsification, and what? Plagiarism. Fabrication, just like we tried to define in the last class, is what? Some people don't do research. I can tell you, we do respect as somebody who has spent some time in the academia, but some people truly don't conduct research, okay? It's a very serious misconduct, very bad, a sort of ethical misconduct in research. They just go and sit down, okay? Sometimes they take other people's work, okay, and try to fabricate. Think of an area and then adjust and do this and do that and do that, okay? They just sit down. Sometimes they are even lazy to even take another work and adjust it, okay? So they concoct figures, this and that, looking at a particular work. I remember at a time, this one was very common in the internet, okay? You just give them a topic, they go and bring you such an ideal work, okay? You pay some money. Are we together, please?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Together,
this
sir.
is very, very important. I want us to, because any other thing we do, we must be guided by what? The ethics, the rules of that thing we want to do, isn't it?
Yes.
It's very common. Falsification is what? You have the result, but it doesn't suit the outcome. Maybe a particular government agency or international agency gives you a work to carry out a research. This is what they want to see, okay? So, but it's not really matching, okay? So at this point, people try to what? Falsify, change this, change that in their work so that it will suit them, so that you see their result coming almost ideal, okay? This is a serious moral issue. As you can see, most of this thing, you can do it in the comfort of your classroom or laboratory. So that is why you must be guided by what? Moral principles. And then plagiarism. What is plagiarism?
Direct copying without acknowledgement.
But there is something very important I want all of you to acknowledge. Direct copying, whether intentional or unintentional. Okay? If you copy somebody's work intentionally or unintentionally verbatim without due acknowledgement, that is known as what? Plagiarism. That's why we have a lot of now plagiarism software.
We didn't get that, sir. You said direct, intentional.
If you copy somebody's work either intentionally or unintentionally. So
it is plagiarism.
yes, whether it was not intentional, as long as the ethics is concerned, it is called plagiarism. Okay?
Do we add without acknowledgement?
Yes, of course. That's what I say, without due acknowledgement of the source, isn't it? Any other thing, we will see it when we come to literature review. Literature review is what? Plagiarism also. But the only difference is that you acknowledge, isn't it? Each and every, so you make one statement, you put in bracket, Bakari et al. Isn't it 2010?
Yes.
Something like this,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Without that, it will be plagiarism because it's not your work. So when you copy from different people, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
When you copy from different people and you acknowledge, that is research. But when you copy everything from one person, that is what? Plagiarism. You get the small, I don't know, the
Yes,
boundary.
sir.
Yes. So you should get the different research. If you have a review, you know there are some. I read a paper, a review paper on listeria, 78 pages. Is a research work, 78 pages, but it's review. All what other people have done, and it was accepted in high impact journal and was published. So if you copy small and acknowledge, that one is called research. But if you copy from one person, okay, verbatim without acknowledging, and too much of from one person, that one is what is known as plagiarism. Okay. So I think that one also is straightforward. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So ethical principles. A researcher must be what? Very honest. There must be what? Objectivity. Isn't it? Integrity. So you can see all these things are what? Components of what? Moral principles, isn't it? Just as we gave in our definition also, isn't it? We say what? Carefulness. Each and every researcher, carefulness is part of what? The power of what? Examination or observation. Okay, you have to be very careful. Otherwise, sometimes it's about some seconds, you'll miss the whole show. You remember titration, you are just dropping. Then one point you turn your head, and then the color like magic. You know, if you remember chemistry, the color will just change to orange, and then you start thinking, what happened? So carefulness is part of what? Keen observation, diligent work when it comes to research. So we said what again? Confidentiality, openness. A good researcher also should be able or should be ready to share his or her own what? Data, findings, okay? At least after publication. If you look at the LinkedIn, isn't it LinkedIn? And most this thing, you see some people even send you request. Oh, I saw the abstract. Can you please send me the full version? I don't know. I think we have experienced this severally. So a good researcher should be able or should be ready to be open to share his or her what research findings. A researcher also must have responsible what? Mentoring. Okay? Are we writing or are we listening?
We are listening.
Then we have to have also respect for intellectual property. Respect for intellectual property. I didn't put it here, but maybe you can add it. Respect for intellectual property, isn't it? So, and that is what will protect you from what? Plagiarism, isn't it? It is not your work. So at most you have to just acknowledge it, isn't it?
Yes.
So you must have also respect for your fellow colleagues. All right?
Yes.
Respect for colleagues. And also, as a researcher, you must have what? Or part of ethical principles is social responsibility. Okay? So social responsibility, you see, if you are asked to carry out a community research, okay, mosquito or anything or outbreak of a disease, so you see you have a social responsibility here. And if you try to be honest, that will prevent you from either fabrication or falsification of your result. So you must be socially responsible. Anything you publish as you are finding, make sure that this is exactly what you found in your work. Is that clear?
Yes.
So there must be a sound legality also. What you are doing, whatever you are doing, must be on legal basis. No researcher should be involved in something illegal. Okay? If this drug is not allowed to be used for so purpose, don't use it. So legality also is part of what? Of principles of research ethics. Okay? I don't know any other thing we need to add. And of course, finally, if we are dealing with maybe human or animal subject, isn't it? There is a need to what? Get a research what? Clearance, isn't it? We need to have a research ethics clearance.
Ethics approval, yes.
Okay. So if you look at this also, by the time you have understanding, you have defined the purpose of your research, whatever, you have determined the type of research you want to conduct, then this is your guide. Research ethics. Now you are equipped with what? The ethics, the do's and don'ts of research, guided by this maybe 10 or more principles we listed. I think perhaps you are set to start writing your proposal, okay? Which will be, by the grace of God, our next topic, okay? Are we together?
So,
Yes.
So it's a whole topic on its own. So as I promised, perhaps we'll just go briefly, we'll just discuss. But I advise you also to go and read a little bit about the difference between these observational studies, cross-sectional case control and cohort, so that we will have a better discussion. But we are going to look at a very, very important issue. That's why we are going to talk about your what is hypothesis, research question, the aims and objective of your research, justification for your research, the methodology of your research. So it's a very important component, and that will be the subject of our next class by the grace of God. So the next class will be literature review and proposal writing. So we'll try to also provide simple slides just to guide you, so that if there's any other thing we can discuss further, or you can go and reach at least within the scope of the syllabus or perspective that we are provided with. So actually we adjusted it small, but is within that context, and try to enrich it with what actually you need for the purpose of writing your projects under the fellowship. And for those of you who are in classrooms also, perhaps may benefit in one way or the other from all this. So I want to thank you so much, okay, for your time. And I don't know if you have some questions.
Yeah, yes, Prof.
Yes, please.
The ethical misconduct in research, apart from the three we have mentioned, are there more?
Apart from what? Apart from what? Sorry, please, can you repeat what you asked?
Apart from the three ethical misconduct in research, do we have more?
These three, you know, like they are categories, isn't it? Do you get the point? So, and if you look at the principles, you can find that any other thing that you do, if somebody is not honest, it means what? Is an ethical misconduct. if somebody is not careful or has no respect for his colleagues, okay? So we can go down to break them down, but basically, these are the three categories. If somebody try to falsificate a result, fabricate a result, it means he is at the same time, I don't know, breaking how many of these principles. It means he is not honest, isn't it? It means he has no social responsibility. It means he has no integrity. Is that so?
Yes.
So that is why perhaps it's better to just bundle them, okay, under these three basic. And I'm sure by the time you look generally, whatever misconduct is, it will fall out of this. I don't know, other than maybe physical fighting with colleague. I don't know where to put that one. You discover somebody has plagiarized your work, you start punching him. Or it's a misconduct, but I don't know how to physical assault or what do you call it. But generally under the context of the misconduct,
maybe assault
and researchers, perhaps we leave it as such. But if you can bring more things that we can add, I think that's why we have this classroom. It's for interaction.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Who
is that crying? Please take care of him or her. Oh, she wants to speak with Prof. Let me talk to her small. You know, children can be very inquisitive. They want to see what the mother or father is seeing or doing.
Yeah, in the research ethics. Yeah, in the definition for the research ethics.
Yes.
Say the system of moral principles governing conduct of research, and scholars in the method. From that point, I didn't get the message you want to pass. Scholars in the method and procedures in performing. I didn't get.
You see, let's take it. System of moral principle governing conduct of research. It is governing conduct of research and scholars.
Okay.
Who are scholars? Scholars, I mean researchers, if you like, isn't it?
Okay.
In the method and procedure in performing research and analyzing data, as well as relationship with other scholars or with one another, if you like it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any problem with English?
I think I'm okay with that.
The scholars.
Okay, let's wait. Let's correct this to one another. Okay, instead of repeating scholars here. So, but what we are saying is system of moral principle governing the conduct of research. Okay, how do you conduct research? And moral principle governing scholars. Now we are talking of two things. One governing research, and then now governing scholars in the method and procedure in performing research and analyzing data, as well as relationship with one another. Do you get the point?
Yeah. I've
like
gotten
it. Yeah. I don't know whether and or I put comma, but I think maybe since you are okay, that's it. So any other question? So, please, I want to ask you something. Please, you just forward all your suggestion, anonymous suggestion to your class rep. Okay. We just want to have an appraisal. What do we need to improve in the class within our power? In internet stability, there's not little we can do. But how do you want us to improve the classroom, the lecture, the approach, the slides? Okay. Please try to forward all your suggestion to the, even if it is in form of small text message. For the research methods, I had talks with Professor Kudi yesterday. I've told him I had first class. So after the second class, I would like to share your opinion. How do we improve, or how do we go about? So please, I urge you to forward your suggestion to her, class rep. I think Adetunji. So that she will forward it to me and we'll see how we can improve. Because there's no provision for this type of long this. Please, you can be free also to send your criticisms. That's why I say let it be anonymous. Okay, if you like, send whatever you feel about the course. Okay. Yes, even about the lecturer, don't worry. We are here to improve. Okay.
Prof, I still have a question.
A question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, under the concept of research, I didn't really understand what you said about research orientation.
No, it's just like categories again.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes. I'm talking of research orientation, isn't it?
Yes, Prof. Yes, Prof.
It's almost something like I don't know how to put it. It's the orientation, the type of research you want to go into. Because I can't call it type or category, if you like. Isn't it? It's just like categories of research. Because we have types, clear types of studies. This one is just for you to understand, again, whatever research you are doing, it may be either incremental or radical or fundamental. But which I say maybe 95% of what we will be doing is just the incremental type of research. But you are okay with the explanation.
I didn't really get the explanation. That's why I asked this
You didn't
question.
get the explanation.
Yes, Prof.
Why? I say incremental, okay? Are you hearing me?
Yes, Prof.
What we just say briefly, sorry, please, for our benefit and others. Incremental, we say, is the type of research that you carry out based on already existing knowledge. We have already knowledge in that area. I gave example. We carry out prevalence of brucellosis in Sokoto State, for example. Okay, but we don't have the knowledge in Kogi State. So you come and carry out prevalence of what? Brucellosis using the same method, the same approach in Kogi State. You see, it's a knowledge that it's not something new. You are not discovering anything. It's something that you are just adding little knowledge, or you can take one local government in a state, then you take another one. So it's small addition of knowledge to already existing one. Without regards to the approach. When we say the radical one is what? There is existing knowledge. This is how it is being done. But you say you want to do it in this way and see whether you will get the same result. Okay? So you are just literally the word radical. You are trying to approach it in a radical way. Different method, more deeper method, other than the conventional, the normal one that is being used. Okay? As I had one philosopher saying today, you may have one destination, but you may have different pathways or route. Okay? Yeah. And each road has its own characteristics, isn't it? This one may be smooth, nylon tarred road. This one may be bush through Biningwari, but maybe at the end you want to come to Zaria, isn't it? So that's the word radical, want to approach it in a different way. Maybe it will be easier and so. What we say fundamental is there are no prior existing knowledge. For example, when the exploration of the space started, there was no any data. What is happening, this and that. So it's journey, and I just put it in a local way, journey to unknown. what fundamental research is all about. So that is about the category, if you like, the orientation of research. Okay. So you see, it has nothing to do with the details of how you carry out. When we say experimental, that one is different. It has to do now with some procedure. This one is just ideological, orientational, okay, or category generally, just based on the output or approach. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Maybe 2 more questions, and then maybe we call it a day.
So let me, can I ask another question?
Yes, please.
Okay. What is the case control method under observational studies and then the cohort study?
Yes. What's the question?
The difference, the major difference between the case control study and then the cohort study under the observation study.
Yes. Please, I said, let's leave this for, because I think I understand that little. Actually, I didn't want us to go deep into this, but I said just these 2, other than the cross-sectional, they are also referred to as longitudinal studies. Okay? Because all of the 2 had to do with what? Determination of what? A disease at the beginning. Okay? So that's why I'm saying, just let's leave it, please. In the next slide, we trash it out. Okay, maybe I may come up with even another slide. Okay.
All right.
Then maybe categorize it and give some small characteristics.
It's okay. Thank you very much.
This book. Because honestly, I guess as much, but I didn't think you guys would be keen about knowing the difference. Since you are interested, we'll talk about it. So maybe one final question, and we call it a day. No question, right?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, there is one question. Can we study in terms of retrospective study and cohort study is more of a prospective study? Can we also look at it in that light?
Can we what?
Can we say that case control is a retrospective study?
It can be retrospective. And it can be prospective.
Study.
You get the point. Yes. Okay. Quentin, please, let's leave this. Okay, it's like there's a little confusion. That's no problem. Next class, we'll start with it before we move to literature review, okay? Please, if you have any other question, that's why I left you open. You go and read a little bit about that, okay? That's no problem. I think we have exhausted our time, okay? So jot down any other thing. You can communicate personally also. I think maybe my number and so on. So thank you very much. I think I will still continue with you in the next maybe class before Kudi, okay? And I think, thank you very much for reminding me also. It's not that I've forgotten anyway, but I will warn you also, I think we are going to start around 1:30 because 1 o'clock is usually the time we go for prayers. So immediately after prayer, I come and join the class. So if you don't see me between 1 and 1:30, that's no problem by the grace of I have the schedule ready. The other time I didn't print it out, but now I have your schedule up to me. So God willing, that's no problem. Okay. So thank you very much. It's my really pleasure to interact with you. And I wish to see you in the next class. Thank you very much.
Prof.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye, Prof.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prof.
Yes, yes. Mm. Yeah. I think the network, yeah.
They are shared modem too, I mentioned. But did
MTN.
you enjoy it, the modems?
This one, Airtel. The discovery is not too good here.
Let's leave the class for the next set of people having classes, please.
Class rep, what about the attendance?
Attendance has been taken already.
Actually, by clicking management, you can join as a guest, you join as sometimes it's good to listen to what emphasis in a lecturer.
Bring up this point.
The classification of that's fully.
Okay, you want to make I have to sit down isn't job until ready. Amana Cheba, materials in. Wait, my materials in that is sorry. Listen, I was highlighting the PowerPoint in that I really wanted to get that when the Indian incremental result, the radical. I did. You journey to the no, it's only the one in Assam. Okay, that radical you're saying something that research it is have been known. You are repeating it in another place.
Incremental may have you're adding on top of the existing research. Actually, example, already the one you know the prevalence of the selected so you know what you want
to give example with Sokoto.
There is the same method of approach.
For
example, I'm using ELISA. Zaria, you want to use ELISA.
ELISA. That's incremental.
That's incremental. For example, I'm using ELISA Zaria. PCR.
In Sokoto, okay, on the same disease.
So observational study, think about the explanation.
Yeah.
kaga shi ya ne da
Good afternoon, colleagues. Please, I want to confirm, is this class going to hold? Because we are just waiting, nothing has been said yet. Hello, can anybody hear me?
Hello, yes.
Yes, well, Doctor.
Good day.
This is Dr. Jafaru from Zaria. Please, we are just waiting, and we don't know. Do you have any confirmation that this class is not going to hold? Because we have other things to go and do.
I don't have any confirmation. I'm just waiting, just like any other person. If the lecturer comes in, fine. If we don't, stop.
Okay.
Because we have been inside this class since the other last class overlapped into our class.
Yes, they overlapped. I joined this class, I think, some few minutes after 3. So I even listened to part of some of the lectures. They finished, even went away. But I think what we do, we should organize this class so that to have at least class rep, so that we'll be coordinating things between us and the lecturers. I think it will be better.
Somebody was coordinating the course. I think Dr. Teki, when we are right. Dr. Teki, when we are right.
Okay.
I think so. And then there is Dr. Olushei, also is helping out. Also, Akano.
Okay.
I think two of them they have been updating things for us.
But they are not here now.
I don't know.
Oh, today. I think we only have.
Although I've not checked our WhatsApp page to know whether they have even postponed the class. Sometimes they postpone the class and they don't tell us.
No information as to no information as to at home, because I was it just now before meeting myself here. So let's just wait, give a few minutes before we.
Once we are tired, we leave because it's just remaining less than 50 minutes.
You see, yeah, it's just exactly 50 minutes. We'll spend more than an hour here.
So yeah, definitely.
Oh, thank you.
Fine, sir.
Good on.
I think nobody
said. Pardon?
Nobody has. They have not contacted the lecturer, obviously.
Yes.
Possibly on our platform too. People ask and nobody could actually give a definitive answer. All right, so later now.
Okay. Another time.
ba a sa BBN akwai wanda ba a sa BBN sai a kawo shi kuma Najeriya an buɗe ne account Union Bank mun je ana rigima da Najeriya an tura mai $12,000 ya ga kuɗi sun shigo ana fata cigiya an turo kuɗi ashe account ɗin Najeriya aka turo shi kuma Najeriya ya lubu ya shi kuma ya san kuɗi cikin kuɗi aka biya ya ɗauka wai tallafin wai ya ɗauka tallafin corona sai aka turo wai muka ta da ya bari ka bashi na yana mai da su kudu ba ya da nan bashi na abu shi ne da Najeriya a yana mai bakin shi ne mai da kasa shi ne mai da shi ne mai da ba ka je da Allah ka bashi na
sai nan wurin suna son kai wallahi zai ba su ka tuna wannan abba
naira bai wallahi da zai ko da kuma san sai da san miliyan ne wai to mun gaskiya wannan
ai na gaya ma ce Ibrahim ai in ba Ibrahim yana ji